appreciate your time and thank you very much for joining us. Just to put things in perspective, UK is the single largest G20 investor into India. British companies account for a combined revenue of more than $54 billion into India. That's 10% of the total FDI flows into the country. 335 UK businesses currently operate in India. India is one of the largest foreign investors into the UK, and the Tata Group is one of Britain's largest manufacturing employers. More than 700 Indian-owned companies operate in the UK. There are areas of greater collaboration. I will run you through some of them, and then we'll get down to the discussion: research, healthcare, infrastructure development, information technology, banking and financial services, defense, and of course, as Lord Maude pointed out, smart cities. The government has embarked on an ambitious smart city project, and it's good to hear that forward movement has taken place as far as the Smart City initiative is concerned from the UK side, because we already had, as part of the Economic Trade Committee that was set up between the India and the UK, a joint working group task force that was set up to look at the issue of smart cities, and I'm happy to hear that we've made some forward movement on that front. So let's get right down to it. I've charted out the areas of possible collaboration or further collaboration. Ivan Menezes of Diageo, let me ask you this question. Since you have currently done a deal already in India, India is now Diageo's second largest market. Do you believe that given the strength of the Indian economy, the potential growth of the Indian economy, large ticket FDI from the UK will continue to come in?
I certainly would hope so. You know, if you step back and look at what's happening in the world today, there's a unique opportunity today. In the emerging world, India stands out. It's almost the eye of the storm in BRICS today, right? It's stable, it's got good growth, wonderful demographics going for it. If you look at the developed world, Britain is in very strong shape. At the same time, if you look at the two governments in power, both of them are pro-business, pro-trade, pro-investment. And I would hope, certainly our experience has been, we've invested $3 billion. We're delighted to be in India. We have a wonderful business here. We're committed for the long term. We're investing in skills, in manufacturing and innovation. And now it's a tough place to do business, right? In our business, we require 250,000 approvals a year.
250,000?
Approvals a year. It's not easy. However, this is all to play for. And I do believe the Modi government is going to, and the state governments, will try to make it easier to do business. We believe in doing business the right way. We bring high levels of governance and transparency to the company and the industry. But, you know, I was in Bangalore just earlier this week, and back to the theme of this conference. What inspired me the most was 6 months ago, we built an innovation capability in United Spirits in Bangalore. And this team has been absolutely a joy to watch. In 6 months, you talk about the inventiveness of India, the talent that exists here. Not just for what we will do in India, a lot of the ideas that are coming out of this team now, we are looking to take around the world. And so for companies looking at India, I would just say now's the time, now's the moment. It's not just about the India opportunity. I think the skills and advantage you will build here will hold you in good stead globally, because the talent base and the jugaad innovation capability that exists here, I think, is extraordinary. And we're already seeing great benefits from it.
Well, that's good to hear. 250,000 approvals a year, and then we talk about the ease of doing business. But let me just take that point forward, since we are talking about deeper collaboration. And in the Sterling Assets report, you know, there is an entire chapter that's dedicated to the issues impacting collaborative innovation. If I could ask you about the operating environment, besides the number of approvals, for instance, that are required, what else would you like to see change in order for you to deepen your engagement with this market, in order for you to deepen collaborative innovation in this market?
I think it's largely in this area of ease of doing business. We need, and the government, the reform we are looking at in areas like GST are very important. Clearly, we would like alcohol included in GST.
Is that a disappointment, the fact that alcohol is going to be out of the GST, as and when the GST is in fact rolled out, April 1, 2016 is still a question mark?
No, of course, because it will make business easier. It will result in the consumer seeing more benefits. So we would support it. But more broadly, I'd say harnessing the talent that exists in this marketplace and really driving innovation, the theme of this conference, I think is the big opportunity. I mean, India has massive challenges, has got a great talent base, has got we know the Modi government has a very urgent agenda for growth. And I'd say creating the conditions, government has a key role to play to create the conditions in infrastructure and digital connectivity, smart cities, the education agenda, and really supporting that. All these initiatives are going to make a big difference. And we're delighted to be here, and we're here to play for the long term, and we do believe India will be one of the bright spots for our company as we look at the next decade.
Well, that's good to hear. India continues to be a bright spot there as far as Diageo is concerned. David Fletcher at Bupa, if I could ask you, because one of the key areas of opportunity is within the financial services space, insurance in specific. And there we actually have seen the government change its FDI regulations. We've hiked the FDI cap from 26% now to 49%. You've got a joint venture partner here in India, and you're actually the first to get approval to hike your stake in India. If you can take us through what has really changed as far as the regulatory environment is concerned and the opportunities that you now see in a more open market.
We were delighted when the FDA change was announced. We're currently going through that process of increasing our stake in Max Bupa from 26% to 49%. And just like has already been heard, we're here for the long term, and that's why we want to have 49% and work closely with our partner. I think we were delighted that the government saw that insurance, and obviously in our case health insurance, is something that it's worthwhile promoting. One of the things that we've always said around the world with regard to health insurance is that it should be seen as complementary to national systems that exist, and not necessarily just in competition with. And I think some of the things that they're doing enables us to look at it that way in India. The other point for us is that as we get into the dialogues around the 49% and where we're moving to, it's also enabling us to have the conversations around changes in regulation, keeping pace with what we're seeing in new delivery mechanisms for insurance, be they digital, much more paperless, that sort of thing, that we can effectively leapfrog as we're setting up here, and not having all the sort of legacy that we have in other markets. So I think having that dialogue, seeing it as complementary, and looking to continue that investment is very, very important. So
you clearly don't find the control norms as part of the FDI regulations as being a dampener or a disappointment? I
mean, we're in a regulated industry. We accept we're in a regulated industry. There's very, very good reasons why it's a regulated industry. So we accept that, and we find we can work with governments around the world. India is no exception for that, and the way things are moving forward we see as very positive. So, yes, there's always frustrations. You always want things to go quicker, but I think we're actually going in the right direction, and that's hugely encouraging.
Mr. Grimstone, if I could come to you at Standard Life, pretty much similar experience as we just had there from David Fletcher at Bupa, because you've also expressed your ability or your desire to be able to hike your investment in your joint venture partner. Can you take us through the opportunities that you see? And also, if I could link that back to David's point that the government is now moving towards a universal healthcare promise, and that is the hope at this point in time. How do you see that impacting the opportunity for insurers like yourself?
I mean, can I just start by saying I don't really like the dichotomy British or Indian. In the last 10 years, Deepak Parekh and I have created one of the largest insurance companies in India and the largest asset management company in India. I cannot tell you whether that's a UK company or an Indian company, because it's a partnership between the two companies. And why does that work? Is because of our shared history. When we sit around a board table, we absolutely know how things are done. I was brought up with the British 1948 Companies Act. I can sit in an Indian boardroom and know exactly what company law is here. Actually, I'm more familiar with Indian company law than I am with British company law, because Francis and his colleagues keep on changing in our law. So I think it's
ready to change ours.
I think it's rather old-fashioned, this idea of talking about India or Britain. So I have of course, all our management in India are Indians. But around the board table, because we have this blend of UK and India, we avoid groupthink. And I think that is the real source of innovation between our two countries. It's when you get our different ways of looking at things coming together to innovate. And I think there's a very, very big lesson there, not to think about India as a market, not to think about Britain as a source of finance, but to think about these as two very large countries who find it very easy to work together because of our heritage, not seeing it in master-servant on either side of it. This is a partnership. I'd like our company in India to be a world leader moving outside India into emerging markets and creating a huge business from there. So I'd like to suggest to this sort of conclave that that's the way that we should look at it. Let's talk about these as partnerships at the board level. Let's not get hung up about India control, India management, UK control, UK management. As Tata does, take the very best from both countries and work out how you can push forward, whether it's in high-tech, whether it's in insurance, whether it's in consumer goods. Take the best from both countries and let's see how we can move forward.
That's an important point that you make, and I just wanted to get a quick comment in from you. A lot of companies are now talking about not just using India as an export hub, but also using India as an innovation center, using India as a human resource capital to try and develop products and services here and then export the same to other emerging markets. You talked about the insurance example. What would need to be done in order for us to really scale that up?
I think it is just getting used to working together. I'm on the board of Deloitte, and Deloitte could not function without its hub in India. Deloitte worldwide is entirely dependent on that. So once you have that level of integration, things flow naturally from that. Of course, what we have to allow, and we put pressure on Francis and his colleagues on this, is free movement of expert people between our two countries. And we mustn't be scared of free movement in either way. With my friend Uday Kotak, I chair the India-UK Financial Partnership. There we have brought together 30 Indian firms and 30 British firms to help Indian policymakers in the Ministry of Finance innovate and push forward Indian financial services. We're using the skill of practitioners here with the skill of practitioners in London to help develop laws to change practice. Some of it very technical. We're looking at the details of insolvency provisions. We're looking how to build a pensions industry in India. We're looking at infrastructure financing. And again, it's the same theme. It's bringing together experts from both countries to mutual advantage.